The great comedians Bob Elliott and Ray Goulding once performed a priceless sketch in which Goulding, as Alfred E. Nelson, the author of an 1,100-page history of the United States, admits he's an 8th-grade dropout who has written the book from memory. As the interviewer, Elliott points out Nelson's more excruciating mistakes, including Nelson's claim that the Civil War started in 1911, and he adds, quote, "You have Abraham Lincoln driving to his inauguration in an automobile." In our #1 story, there are some differences between the fictional Alfred E. Nelson's The History of the United States and Bill O'Reilly's new book, Killing Lincoln. Nelson, for instance, confesses it's a shabby piece of work. I'm one of the first to admit it. O'Reilly had to have the shabbiness of his laughable attempt at history pointed out to him. That has now happened. The historians at the official Lincoln Museum at Ford's Theater have refused to sell the book because its pages are bursting with disastrous factual errors. Perhaps the most obvious and mind-boggling of them, the mention of Lincoln meeting Ulysses S. Grant in the Oval Office, which wasn't built till 1909. O'Reilly also claims Dr. Samuel Mudd's farm, where Booth hid out, was a 500-acre estate. It was actually 217 acres. After Lee surrendered to Grant on April 9th, 1865, O'Reilly wrote, "The two warriors will never meet again," until they met the next day. He claims the show Our American Cousin had been shown 8 previous times at Ford's Theater. It was actually 7. He wrote how Booth bore a hole outside of Lincoln's box so he could see inside. In fact, the hole was bored by the theater so Lincoln's guards could check in without disturbing the president. There are even incorrect names. John Ford's chief carpenter at the theater is Gifford, not Clifford. And he describes how one of Booth's co-conspirators, Lewis Powell, spoke with an Alabama drawl, which is rather remarkable since he came from Florida. There are also grammatical errors, such as Billow's writing, "He furls his brow" instead of furrows. But even the facts that the book gets wrong, it does not get wrong consistently. On page 104, O'Reilly writes about Ford's Theater. "After it was burned to the ground in 1863, owner John Ford rebuilt it." Page 159. "When Ford's Athenaeum was destroyed by fire in 1862, geez, at least be consistent with the years of your made-up fact. In fact, it burned down in 1862. This is the man who claimed on the air that Nixon had never met Mao Zedong. He thought that Marie Antoinette was married to Louis XIV, not Louis XVI. He claimed no prisoners had died at Abu Ghraib. He said no oil had spilled during Hurricane Katrina, suggested that Churchill committed torture and war crimes, and worst of all, claimed that U.S. troops slaughtered German SS troops who had surrendered to them at Malmedy in World War II, when it was the Germans who had killed the American prisoners at Malmedy. O'Reilly is reportedly now headed to Thailand to work on his next book on the legendary Vietnamese leader, Napoleon. Joining me on that note, Nixon White House counsel, Countdown contributor, John Dean. Good to see you, John.
Good to see you, Keith.
If you go into writing a book saying, as he did, I don't want a boring history book, I want a thriller, this is what you get, right? Superman tracks Lincoln's killer through Mars or something?
Yes, and I can't tell you how delighted I am to be here. Instead of the Countdown puppets,
Yes,
this sounded like it might be something for them.
I mentioned these small details, and I remember once I did a book review of a guy who claimed that the Polo Grounds baseball stadium in New York overlooked the Hudson River when it overlooked the Harlem. And after I did this, and there were 20 or 30 other items like that, small little details in a biography that I knew were wrong. And the guy just lambasted me and said, why are those details so essential? You're just nitpicking. Why are those details so essential? You've written enough to know this, the answer.
Well, typically, one documents a book like this.
Yeah.
There are something like almost 17,000 Lincoln books, and that's 17,000, not 100. Mm-hmm. We don't need another Lincoln book. And if he has no original research, it's hard to figure out why he's even dealing with any details. And I can't imagine 325 pages on Lincoln from Bill O'Reilly telling us anything that we need to know. So I don't know. I can't explain that. Mm-hmm. I've done Bill's show a couple times, and he once told me how to sell a bestseller, and it wasn't to get everything wrong in it.
Yeah, but I mean, but my argument was that if these little details are wrong, and they're things that I would know off the top of my head, how do I know about all the exclusive stuff in the book or the quotes? Isn't that where it sort of the dominoes begin to fall over? If you don't get the small, easily found details right, people are going to start assuming you got the big details completely wrong,
as
too.
you know, I have been writing about conservatives for a few years.
Yes.
There is a trend in conservative writing that's called intellectual dishonesty. And it's a troubling trend, and he seems to be within the trend. And so he's just being totally consistent.
But he would have heard what you just said and went, intellectual, thank you very much. There are also, in addition to the small details, there are big picture clunks the rumor that Edwin Stanton, who was Lincoln's Secretary of War, was somehow behind the assassination.
Really old canard.
Right. That was done. I was not a kid anymore, or maybe I was still. Maybe in 1970 or so, where they debunked that.
Right.
And as you said, there are no notes and no sources in this book. Is it possible that, like Bob and Ray's fictional character, he wrote it from memory?
It's very possible.
Yeah,
or another possibility is he didn't write it.
Yeah, well, there is a co-author.
Yes.
There's that. Ironically, there is you said 17,000 books. There's a fairly recent book that was on this topic that was everything O'Reilly said he wanted to do, which was dramatic and not like a history book, and thrilling, and yet completely factual. The James Swanson book from about 4 years ago, Manhunt.
Right.
You don't have to fudge the facts to make it good writing, do you?
No, we actually gave that book to a couple people as a gift because it's a good read. And he has added nothing to the Lincoln library, so to speak.
But you must have, having spent as much time as you did in it, I would assume you would have a sort of personal joy at the premise of the Oval Office, which has just celebrated its 100th anniversary 2 years ago, being placed back into Civil War era.
Absolutely. You know, I've always thought of the Oval Office being built in the image of the man who designed it.
For Taft?
A very oval William Howard Taft.
Easy way to remember it.
Very
Your students
easy way
at home.
yes, exactly. So how can you forget it? I mean, how can you get that confused?
Well, apparently you just...
He's only off 44 years, though, Keith.
Well, that's my point. It's a nice close window. He almost got it right. And is that, of these that you've heard, is that your favorite of the mistakes?
That is the leading right now. I read the article that the woman who really pierced it took a look, and I stopped counting at about really 12 serious errors. Yeah. He says there are 4. You know, I'm a serious author. I do a lot of work, and it's kind of an insult to those of us who try to really show some scholarship in our work. And I was thinking, what would I do if this happened? I'd get an errata sheet out so fast in the books, and rather he's trying to defend it. Well, so this is silliness.
The word you just said just encouraged. I just realized you said errata sheet, and he's going to think you said something about erotic. The author, historian, and Countdown contributor John Dean, who just put that thought in O'Reilly's head. Thanks a lot. Good to see you, sir.
Thank you, Keith.
That's Countdown for this 314th day since the Republicans took control of the House, 314 days without them having passed one jobs bill of any kind. I'm Keith Olbermann. Congratulations on surviving another day of this crap. Good night and good luck.